Oh, okay.
Gladys, you're here?
I can see the lobby. Now I can admit.
Is Gladys here?
Yes, not yet. Yeah.
Brian, could you find Gladys? Oh, okay. Let me find you.
Okay. I will, in the meantime, Angelina, I'll take over the admission. I can admit from my end.
Yes. I'm just working on Gladys. Gladys, you can.
Okay, thank you for
Yes.
that. Yeah, you can also allow me to share.
I think you can share.
Okay, I can share now. Okay, let me put the slide back. Okay, so just let me know if I can just speak from where I left.
Just a recap of where you were up to here. It's okay.
Okay. So for those who are joining, we just went through how do you set up if you want to get into consultancy as an individual or as a company. So you need to define what you want, why you want to get into consultancy, whether as an individual or as a company, and how do you want to go about it? When do you want to start? Who is your target client? Because safety is very wide. We have different, industries across board. So who is your target client? Then when do you want, where do you want to be in X years? So how does your growth look like? And we say that when you're talking about vision, we are answering where and what. So what do I want to do? And where do I want to be maybe in X number of years? Then when it comes to strategy, you are answering the how. So how do you want to go about it? So I had already gone through this. So I'm just recapping for the people who've come in. And we were at how do you package your brand. So during my presentation, I will be speaking of individual and company, because there are those people who will want to navigate that space as individuals. So these individuals will be outsourced by other organizations to be able to deliver the services. At the same time, someone may want to go and package themselves as an organization, so as a company. So what I was explaining is, if you would want to link yourself to your organization, there is the pros and the cons, because remember, you have your identity and the company has its own identity. So the moment you are merging the two, remember, anything that happens to even your own personal reputation will also impact on your brand. Yeah, so that is where everyone knows that so-and-so is the MD or the CEO of this organization. And I think we've seen that in the social media, whereby some of the CEOs have been forced to resign because of things they did at a personal level, but because they are heading this organization, then they will have to quit so that the reputation of the organization remains. So that is one of the cons of linking the company. Sometimes you find that somebody has established the company and is actually not even involved in day-to-day activities of that organization. So there's someone working on business development, operational, everyone is working on it. So for this person, they will only see it to see whether the strategy is aligned to what is happening in the organization in terms of revenue, in terms of growth, but day-to-day engagement, they are not involved. So there are people who've gotten to the point where they are saying, I've run this company for, let's say, 10 years. Now it's my time to take a back seat and let people move with it. But sometimes it's very difficult for sole proprietor businesses to let go. And we've seen some of these companies collapsing once the person has passed on. So I know I've digressed a bit, but let me come back to my point. So in terms of how you want to, set up your organization, do you want to be the person who is doing the hands-on? Of course, that will happen when now you're starting. But as the company grows, sometimes, it's good to let go and, let the company grow, and you don't have to be there making every decision. So identity is very important. So we are talking of individual, company. You can link both of them, or you can decide these are two separate entities, and I'm not going to link my personal brand to the organization. So that is in terms of identity. And also in terms of identity, again, during introduction, I said, what do you want people to identify you with? Is it a service? So what is this service you want? Do you want it to be one service? Do you want it to be multiple services? It depends. Supply of goods. Do you want to be identified as somebody supplying goods only? So PPEs, equipment related to occupational safety and health, because we have quite a variety of products. So what exactly do you want to identify with? Then in terms of value proposition, so what do you uniquely offer? I think that's what I was explaining. So in terms of expertise, so what are your expertise, or what are the people you are looking for in terms of skills, achievement, what is that niche you want to move with? Then in terms of consistency, you have to be very consistent. Right now, the world is a global village. So you don't even have to meet someone physically for you to seal a business deal. I know, and we will hear maybe at the end of this presentation in terms of how people have been able to close on business deals without even physically meeting the person, because LinkedIn is there. We have teams, post-COVID now, business meetings don't even have to be physical one. So how do you ensure your consistency? So on LinkedIn, that's at least the professional platform I know. So how do you package yourself? Is your account dormant? Do you engage people? Do you put posts related to OSH, related to what is happening within the industry? Do you do articles to, give your thoughts or your advice? And sometimes I always feel people holding back because they are afraid of making mistakes. The good thing is with LinkedIn, even if you do a post and there are errors, you can always go back and edit your post. So when we are starting, don't look for that perfection. Don't doubt yourself. Of course, you have to do your research and do it very well. So you have to put time for research, and we are going to see in consequence slides that you may admire somebody who is doing so well in the consultancy field, but you don't have the background information. So a lot of research is required when it comes to consultancy, so that you are even up to date to exactly what is happening, not only within your country or Africa, but globally, what is happening. So you need to engage in those global conversation. And right now in LinkedIn, you can engage somebody from anywhere in this world. So again, don't limit yourself in terms of just connecting to people within your country or maybe within East Africa. So you need to connect with everyone, whether it's in America, the UK, Canada. You never know where opportunities will come. So you just need to be prepared where opportunity comes, and don't limit yourself. It has to be in Uganda, Kenya, or Tanzania. You have to be very open-minded, and also do your research in terms of for these other countries, what is required for me to come in and do consultancy. So we've seen companies coming from UK, from USA, coming to do consultancy here. So for me, the challenge is, why can't we also, be very aggressive in terms of preparing, so that when these opportunities come, we are not left out. And the other thing I'd like to say, which I'm going to handle later, is you cannot do it, you cannot do everything alone. So you cannot be selfish when it comes to consultancy because you can't do everything. So again, how is your network? You need to have a very good network because you may get a scope of work that you as an individual, you not be able to deliver. So you need to look for that expert. And I think even for various organizations and even government, projects, they will not ask for one skilled person. They will ask for multiple skilled persons. So you have to demonstrate you have a team of experts that is able to handle, different scopes within a project. Then when it comes to reputation, what people say about you when you are not in the room. So as I've said, if you decide to link your organization with yourself as a brand, then you just need to be very careful because anything you do as an individual will impact on your brand. And that's why I've said sometimes people may choose not to associate with their organization. Okay, so you own a company, but you want the company to be on itself, and you also want to market, or you want to present yourself as a separate brand. But sometimes you can join the brands, but the most important thing is just remember that whatever you do as an individual, if people associate you with your company, it may end up bringing the company down. So enhancing your visibility. So this is very important. So you may be very good technically. You have all the certifications. I mean, you are a complete package. But remember that is not enough. So you need to go out there and tell people exactly who you are and what you can deliver. So if you're looking to get into consultancy and maybe at the moment you don't even have a LinkedIn account, then I will tell you the first thing after this, this presentation is going there and setting up that account and, start following people, start engaging people there and let them know what you're doing. There's no harm in reaching out. Sometimes you will reach out and, nobody will even come back to you. So that shouldn't discourage you. I always say the worst you can get is a no or no reply at all. But that doesn't mean, you start doubting yourself or you quit. So you have to be very persistent. You have to be very aggressive in terms of enhancing your visibility. So how do you go about it? So you have to maintain active and constructive engagement. So this can be through posts. It can be commenting on somebody's post, giving your thoughts, and that is how you increase, your visibility. So the other one is identify yourself. So whether it's company or yourself with professional bodies. I know like in safety, I think what has been selling a lot is NEBOSH, IOSH, CSP, we have IIRSM. Depending also on the country where you are, we may have other bodies whereby if you're not part of that body, again, you're not able to practice. So as I said, you need to identify what is your target market and align yourself with the requirements that are there. Then in terms of articles and posts, I've said you don't need to be shy. And, don't feel like, don't self-doubt yourself. Put those articles there. Let people comment. Of course, it will not all be positive. Some may be of contrary opinion. So that doesn't mean that your post is wrong, but you need to accommodate people and act in a professional way, even if somebody, trashes what you're putting there. Because remember, I've said we are a global village. And you may find that some people don't even have the decorum or how you've been brought up. How do I say it? Sometimes people are very straightforward in terms of, giving their opinions. some people will be sensitive and maybe try to package their opinion in a nice way. So you have to also recognize that sometimes the feedback may be harsh, may be demeaning. Of course, I don't expect, sorry? Okay, so of course, I don't expect all of us to, I mean, what I wanted to say, sorry, someone has distracted me. What I wanted to say is that if you are a professional, you will always have that aspect of emotional intelligence and, engage people in a very respectful way, but not all the time it's like that. So again, as a professional, you need to be that kind of a person who is, engaging in very respectful way. I've seen people engaging in very derogatory and dismissing people because every time you have, your own opinion, it's either your way or no way. So that one will only impact on your brand negatively. So if you have a contrary opinion, there's a very good way of challenging. And I always say it's good to have your facts. So just don't challenge with, a lot of paraphrasing with no data. So it's always good to do your research. Then look out for all related events or other professional events and attend for networking. And I've put there, it will be a plus if you do your presentation. So I remember when I was starting out, that was in 2012, sometimes I even went presenting. Of course, I had to do a lot of research. That is one thing, at least I can appreciate. So if you're told to present, let's say in a conference, remember you're going to meet people who are already within that profession, most of them, and of course others from other professions. So you need to master your game very well. And when it comes to question and answer, you don't have to answer everything. So if you're limited in terms of knowledge, just acknowledge that. Remember, you don't want to present yourself that you have solutions to everything. There's always room for improvement. And there's nothing wrong with saying, allow me to double check on this instead of giving the wrong information. So, I just want people to be easy to realize that you don't always need to present yourself as this expert who know it all. Even for the people who would call themselves experts, and they know we have them on this call, they will tell you that anytime an assignment comes, no matter how many years you've been in that profession, you need to go back and check what has changed. What more can I do? What more value can I add? So always have that in mind that when you're enhancing your visibility, you have to be very consistent. You have to engage. You have to grow your network, and update on what has been successful. Whether you did a training somewhere, whether you did a CSR activity somewhere, just tell people what you're doing. It's also very important to note that as much as you want to engage us on LinkedIn, if you are working for an organization, again, you need to understand, what are the rules and regulation governing if you're going to post something related to where you are. So do they allow or do they not allow? Because I've seen some of the organization will not allow somebody to just post everything about where they are working. There's someone specific to do that. But even if your company allows you to do that, please make sure you're selecting, photos that speak to your profession, unless maybe you're posting to correct something that was not wrong. I've seen people posting images on LinkedIn, and they call themselves health and safety officers, but you look at the picture and you're like, everything is wrong here. So if you are calling yourself a health and safety person and you're posting a picture where we have quite a number of unsafe acts and unsafe conditions, and the post is not even related to everything that is wrong within that picture, but you are celebrating a milestone, then nobody will take you serious. So let's just be very careful when it comes to enhancing our visibility. Remember, people know you by what you post. So as I've said, you've not had that opportunity to interact physically with someone. So whatever goes out is what people use to judge you. Again, your profile. If it's a picture you're putting there, I've seen people putting pictures that are not even professional. Nobody will take you serious. So put a professional picture, it should be a passport, very well groomed. People will take you serious. Go to your profile, update your history, where you've been, what you've been able to achieve. If you're able to even ask someone to give you recommendation, please do that. Yeah, so ensure your visibility on LinkedIn is positive and it don't end up bringing your brand down. Then how do you create your niche? As I've said, and from the beginning, I've actually focused on this. So there's a lot that we can do in OSH. And opportunities are there. There are so many. So I think, like in Kenya, I think there was a report on inspection of boilers. I think a very small percentage had been done. So there's quite a lot for all of us within, that consultancy field. So we also need to be very professional, avoid, undercutting, bad mouthing other organization. For example, you are sent to an organization as a person who's been outsourced, then you want to go there and take away the business of the person who has sent you there. That's very unprofessional. So it's always good to understand, where do I draw the line in terms of how I'm going to navigate that space. So if you look at legal compliance, so you may decide you want to give a service in legal compliance, and we've seen organizations coming into countries and they don't know how to navigate in terms of legal compliance. So this is a service you can offer, but how will people know that this is a service you can offer? Coming up with legal registers, how will people know unless you tell people you can offer this service? So internationally certified trainings. So I know companies within East Africa, let me just talk of Africa, where people have been accredited to offer courses from NEBOSH to IOSH, I don't know other brands. Yes, but it's possible. You can have your company accredited to be able to offer this, including the ISO certification. So again, how will people know unless you tell them this is what you are providing? Then safety-related podcasts. I think I've seen quite a number of people engaging in this. And someone may think it will not generate revenue when you're starting, but with time, you may have people who want to advertise, opportunities are there. So we need to think beyond where we are in terms of startups and have the long-term vision. What do you want to achieve long-term? Economics, that is also an area where someone can explore and give specific trainings or setting up programs on economics. Electrical safety, again, when it comes to audit, auditing installations, during design, also safety come in. So how are you designing in terms of electrical safety so that we don't have cables all over? Causing the trip hazard. So that is also an area when it comes to designing, you can also come in as an expert. Food safety, hazardous materials, well-being, management system application. So we have people selling platforms to organizations so that they can now manage their management system online. Project management. So a company they don't need someone, they don't need to employ, they don't want to employ somebody, but they need an organization or a company that can give that service. So again, have you positioned yourself in a way that you want to provide that OSH supervision and management for EPC projects. ISO certification. So do you want to be a consultant to guide people? Do you want to be, a certification body? What do you want when it comes to ISO certification? Technical courses, we have quite a lot, from confined space to lockout, tag out, to work at height. So do you want to identify your organization, or do you identify yourself as an expert undertaking the technical courses? And if the answer is yes, then you need to know globally, what are the certifications I need to push for me to be able to say that I'm an expert? Or if you're going to pitch somewhere, somebody will ask you, do you have this certification? And if you have, already you've crossed, the first stage of maybe pre-qualification. Yeah. So maybe by the time it's going to the commercials, you've already proven that technically you are capable. So maybe you get knocked out because of the commercial. And again, that's another discussion for another day. Or we are also going to see here, how do you determine your pricing? How do you go about it? Incident investigation, it might be fire, it might be, someone has fallen from height. So if you want to offer this service, you need to be very good and understand what are the various, frameworks of incident investigation. What does your client want? And remember, for incident investigation, it goes beyond submitting that report. So you as an expert, how do you come in again and ensure that if it's the corrective action, you're guiding your client to closure? And that's why it's important when you are discussing about the commercials, it's very important to define what are your deliverables, and we are going to see that. Then OSH Foundation. So there are people who've established foundation to be able to assist, especially for the informal sectors. So again, is it something you want to explore? Event hosting and emceeing, we've seen that. I think in Kenya, we have the AfriSafe, who have done so well. So again, do you want to be recognized for event hosting? ESG due diligence. I think there's one company I've come across, and most corporates will actually go for this organization. That is, I don't know if they rebranded, but I remember it's IBIS. So you will find that they've already, how do I say it? They are brand. Every time you're talking about due diligence, I think IBs, I don't know if they rebranded, but you will not miss them in that conversation. So, I mean, that is where each and every one of us should aspire to be, whether it's an individual or an organization. Can people everywhere around the globe identify you with your brand? Then PPE supplies, that's also an opportunity. Research, advocacy, I forgot to put here also mentorship. I mean, you can even be called somewhere in an organization to talk to leaders, to talk to employees, to talk to middle-level managers. So I think for this slide, what I wanted to put across is that there are so many opportunities. Actually, the list is not exhaustive, but the opportunities are so many. We only need to define what is it that we want to run with. Then how do you successfully secure and maintain a client? So it's very important to ensure that first you understand your potential client field of operation. That is very important, because even if you're in OSH, and this is something we are going to see that consultants have advantage, you will end up in so many, industries cutting across. So you may move, let's say, from telecom, go to manufacturing, which other one? Maybe go to the food service industry, go to the mining industry, go to training. So first of all, you need to understand your client, what is the field of operation? Because the other aspects that come in, for example, in terms of hazard identification and risk assessment, it will remain that in every workplace, you need to identify hazards and risk. But remember, for you to be able to deliver in a comprehensive way, you need to understand the operation for this client. If you don't understand the operation, you present a risk assessment, maybe that's the scope you've been given, that is too shallow, that the client will not even have value for money. So that means next time you're going to be losing this client. So it's good, understand the operation, understand their work methodology, understand what is there. And from those insights, as an OSH professional, you'll be able to understand what are the hazards and the risks so that at the end of the day, you're giving value to this client. Unless maybe you just want to do it once and go. And remember, if your work is substandard, word travels very fast. Yeah. So you will do 1, 2. By the time you're going to the third one, everyone within the circle of health and safety know that you are under delivering. So, nobody will give you job. And that is one way of bringing your brand down. The other one is understand client deliverables. It's very important to have clarity. What does the client want? You may have the best proposition. Yeah. You may go there with a list of maybe 10 items, explaining to the client, this is what I want for maybe the workplace to be safe. But remember, as much as you are suggesting all these things, the client from maybe the year end, because most of these companies we move from SMEs all the way to the corporates, maybe they have a limitation in budget. So they will tend to prioritize. So don't go there and start, arguing with the client that you have to do these 10 items and not the 2 you are telling me to prioritize. So as a professional, you have to listen to your client because understand also there is the aspect of budget. So you may want to do so much for this client, but due to other limitations, it's always good to also come in and assist them in prioritizing. So ensure you also have a value addition proposition. So you also don't want to just deliver on a task and leave. So you want to ensure that you're keeping in touch with your client, maybe post delivering your scope of work. Maybe the client would want to consult on something. And maybe it's on a phone call. So don't start telling them that, you have to pay me so that I can engage you. So, that is one thing that you don't do. So if you deliver the task and maybe they come back to you and they are consulting on something, it's always good to give that additional value in addition to what you are able to deliver. So consulting, maybe you can let them in, but also let them know that if you need maybe a comprehensive report, this will be at a fee. But you can just give a general overview of what is required. There's no harm in that. But if somebody was to ask for a comprehensive report, now you can now bring that issue of costing. Then ensure your company certificates are in order and in good standing. So again, if you want to move with an organization or as a company, you need to make sure within the countries where you're operating, you've already met the legal requirement, failure to which you will end up missing the business because most of the organization, actually the first stage when it comes to, there's always the expression of requests, then request for proposal. So before you even get, or when you're submitting the EOI or the RFP, there's the bare minimum when it comes to the legal requirement. So as an organization, you need to make sure you have those certificates, failure to which you cannot even proceed to the other stages. So do you understand the legal requirement when it comes to the business? What is required within the country where you're working, and are your paperwork in good order? Then ability to articulate yourself, demonstrating your expertise on legal requirement, international laws and best industry best practice. So you've been given an opportunity now to go and pitch. Yeah, you've gone through the EOI. Now you're going to, pitch your proposal. So you need to be very prepared, because apart from what you're presenting, questions will come in. So you need to be sure, you are an expert in that area. And what I usually say, there's nothing wrong with tagging your friend. But this friend, remember, now I'm talking to the friend. So if you are the friend who's been tagged along, just go and deliver what you've been asked to deliver. Don't go and start now asking for more business or trying to undercut your colleague. So professionals don't work like that. So if maybe somebody co-opted you to go and assist in the whether audit, whether giving proposal, stick to that. Be that professional person who is sticking to what actually took you there. So you didn't go there for business. Remember, you went there as an expert, and now, your friend or the person who reached out to you. People who go to workplaces and try to now start looking for business and undercutting whoever took you there, that's very, very unethical. And remember, as I've said, word travel very fast. So if you are in that consultancy as an individual, and those are your mannerisms. So, Osh is a small circle, so people will know and they will not engage you because you've already, brought down your brand. So let's ensure that in whatever path we choose, whether individual or as an organization, that aspect of professionalism is maintained. So ensure to deliver value. So what I've said, remember, as an organization, you want to be somewhere in X number of years. And the only way you're able to retain clients is to make sure you're delivering value to your clients. So the client, if you deliver value, the client will always come back to you. But if you're the person who will just go to the workplace because now you've seen the deal, you want to just work very fast, just touch a bit on everything and close that to get paid, I'm 100% sure that client will never come back to you. So we have to deliver value. You have to be very comprehensive in whatever you've been engaged to do so that you are adding value to the client, and at the same time, you're also marketing your brand or your organization, or as an individual, you're marketing yourself as this person who is very professional. So I hope I'm on time. Let me just check. So let me try and finish maybe in the next 10 minutes or so that we have room for question. So overnight success mirage in Osh. I think I've seen this a lot, even during the WhatsApp engagements. So remember, there's a journey. Everything, there's a journey. Even when a baby is born, they will start crawling, then, holding the tables or the chairs, then eventually walk, then eventually, run and all that. So for me, I really get surprised when I see or observe, behaviors that are very unbecoming. So you've graduated, but now you want to present yourself as an expert. You've not even done the professional certification, but you don't want to be told anything. And the way you're engaging people is in a very disrespectful way. So I think this is for the people who are new into the Osh field. So there's a lot to be done for you to get to a point where you're saying that I'm an expert. And as I've said, even if you are an expert, there is always room for improvement and learning. Remember also, technology is changing. A lot is changing. So if you're that person who is just stuck in the past and calling yourself an expert or a professor without even upskilling yourself, then I would also bring you into this category of beginners in Osh who are not taking their time to build their skills. So before you get even to the C-suite, I think you can see the illustration there. So you've graduated, you have to do the hard work. I know every person on this call, maybe very few who are lucky, if you graduated and you got immediately to the C-suite, but we've had to do a lot of, hands-on work in the field, in the construction. You have to do the hard work. You have to understand. And the good leaders, even in OSH or other fields, is people who've grown, they've been on the shop floor, they understand how processes are, all the way to the C-suite. That way, if you get there, you will not be in your own world because you are there, you understand how operations are done. So when it comes again to overnight success, so what you don't see behind every successful consultant is there's adequate preparation through research. Yeah, I've said for you to deliver value, you need to be clear on what the client wants and deliver value. And for you to deliver value, you need to have very good insights into the processes, and your reports should be speaking to what is wrong and what can the client do to correct this. So you need to answer those questions so that the client can see value and even go ahead. So you just don't send a report on email. And this is where I'm saying there's that value addition. Plan to take the client through the report, even if it's on a Teams call, or even better, go to their facilities, do your presentation, engage with the leadership. They will see the effort you put in. And again, even when it comes to costing, they will actually see the value for the costing you had put in. But let's say you put a costing whereby your minimum engagement with your client is very low. So the question will be, why are we paying this person all this amount to just give us such kind of a report? So just be very careful you don't get into those areas where someone is doubting, the value you're giving to them. Then pressure to deliver value in a timely manner. I think those who are in consultancy, maybe when we are doing the engagement, they will actually tell you sometimes there is that pressure to deliver in a timely manner, and therefore you need to plan yourself very well. And actually, we are going to see this come out very clearly if you choose to double hat the two. So you're in employment and you're in consultancy. So this is one of the items we are going to discuss in a short while. So emotional intelligence, again, I've said, don't present yourself as this know-it-all person. You're the only one with solutions. You don't even want to listen to your client or the client representative. So let's say you are an OSH consultant, you go in the organization, there's an OSH manager there, but you don't want to listen. I mean, I'm the consultant. You listen to me, I don't listen to you. So you don't work like that. Sometimes it might be the other way. The client also may be, they know it all. They don't want to listen to the consultant. So it can be either way. So emotional intelligence comes in. So you need to keep your emotions in check. Remember, don't get personal. Remember, at the back of the mind, you'll be meeting different clients, and some may not even have time. You might have even prepared for a meeting for 2 days, only for you to walk in, and the client is like, this is what I want, tell me this is what I want. And even if you want to engage this person and maybe give them insights, especially for the top leadership, or maybe where the organizations are not mature, they will not have that time. And even for corporates, most of these leaders, are very busy, like the CEO. So you don't go there giving all the technical things. So you need to know who is your audience and, what is it that they want. So if it's the CEO is not a technical person. So you want to go there and present what value are you adding to the organization. But if you're going to sit down with a technical person, then that would be an opportunity now to give it into details, because this person will even be keen and want to know the logic behind everything you're advising. So again, understand your audience when you're going to present. Then continuous self-development, ensuring one remains relevant. So as I've said, it doesn't matter if you have 40 years experience, 30 years experience, you need to keep upskilling. Like right now with the age of AI and technology, So you need to know what is happening in that space and how you can leverage that, or how that is being leveraged within the OSH space. So that if you're going to pitch and maybe something on technology or AI comes in, you might not be an expert, but you at least have knowledge of how AI or technology can blend in health and safety. The same with well-being. You may not be an expert in that area, but if something comes like, can you develop for us a well-being program? At least you know what well-being is, and you're able to articulate, not comprehensively, but your audience will be able to understand that I'm dealing with a person who is knowledgeable in OSH areas. Then resilience and discipline. So I cannot overemphasize on this. So when we are interacting as OSH professionals, we need to be very disciplined, very respectful in our engagement. There's a way you dismiss somebody in a professional way, but there's a way you can dismiss somebody which actually borders harassment. And I think for OSH professionals, that's not where we want to be. So in terms of resilience, you don't give up, you keep pushing. Keep pushing until your door opens. So, and I will say this even for the people who've graduated, just don't sit and send, send CVs. And what I've seen most of the time, yes, there are those chances whereby you will send your CV and end up getting that opportunity. But most of the time, it's through referrals. Do you know somebody who can do this for me? So even if you're a graduate, ensure you create that visibility, even in the different WhatsApp groups. Create that visibility. Reach out to people who are already within this industry. Ask, sorry?
Excuse me.
Sorry, yes?
Sorry for interjecting. We just have 10 minutes to conclude.
Okay, let me just finish. So let me reduce giving examples. So we'll engage more. Let me finish very quickly in the next 5 minutes. So employment plus consultancy, can I have my cake and eat it? So again, it depends, but these are the pros and the cons. So if you are in full-time employment, you'll have additional income, expanded professional network, skill diversification and growth, enhanced personal brand, career security, future transition path, and independence. But what are the cons? So you're looking at burnout and work-life balance, conflict of interest, legal and contractual restrictions, reduced focus and productivity, reputational risk, tax and regulatory compliance. Then how can you successfully bring down your brand? So engaging in malpractices, failure to deliver on agreed commitments, poor quality control and lack of oversight. So as much as you're delegating, remember, you need to make sure that the aspect of quality is there. And then speaking negatively about individuals, partners, or competitors, then non-existence media presence, so nobody knows what you're doing, then unprofessional conduct or communication, failure to adapt to market trends and innovation, so you need to remain relevant and up to date with what is happening, including the technology, then toxic internal culture and high staff turnover, or even the consultant you're engaging as individual. They find that you don't adhere to their payment timelines, you end up shortchanging them and all that. The non-compliance with legal requirements. So what's the way forward? So whichever path you choose, full-time employment, consultancy, or a blend of both, you need to weigh your options with clarity, conduct a proper risk assessment, and align your decisions with the future you want to build. So if consultancy is part of that future, the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today. So you own your direction and move with purpose. So if that is what you want, you can start it actually after this call. So thank you very much, and back to you, Brian. Sorry I rushed a bit, but back to you, Brian, and thank you for giving me your audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gladys. Let us have A round of applause for Gladys, please. Some reactions appreciating such a very insightful engagement and very elaborative. I personally picked a lot. I hope everyone has done the same. Brand packaging. People perceive what they see. So if we have to be mindful of how we package our brands, because it is the first thing people will have to look at before they look at your product. You know, most of the times I've said this, don't judge a book by its cover, but that's what we do. That's what we do in all the things that we're going to venture into it. So your brand begins before the product, and how you package it speaks louder than your words. And then she also talked about enhancing your visibility. Identify yourself with an association, a professional body. And this is where I get to ask people, if you're not a member of SHAO, you're not a member of WASPAC, you're not a member of TOHASA, what are you waiting for? Yeah, we have a conference coming up in August. If you're not planning to come, what are you waiting for? What are you planning? Because this is the chance for you to enhance your visibility. It's a chance for you to preach your brand to us, a chance for you to engage. And she also talked about creating your niche. You can't do everything. You can't be good at everything. So it's quite important you understand, you zero your energy on what you can do best. You focus on your strength and make sure that you gain so much from it. As some of our friends was telling us, was saying that what you do now determines what you'll be tomorrow, although tomorrow is not guaranteed. So, colleagues, this is what we are going to do now. It's what we're going to put into practice now that will manifest 5 years, 3 years, 10 years from now. Yeah, I guess everyone has picked a few things, and in case there's something that you're not sure about, you need some clarification, or you have a question, this is the time. You just put up your hand, your mic will be unmuted, and you'll ask a question. Please make your question short, precise, and let us keep time so that everyone is able to ask. Both who are putting up their hands and those who are going to ask through the chat box. But as
Harriet, you can unmute.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to sincerely thank Gladys for a very well presented presentation, and also very insightful. You know, sometimes we just, you cannot exist in a cocoon, and that is why when we have such webinars, we are able to expand. Thank you so much, Gladys. Mine is also just to remind our members, especially our team from Kenya, we are preparing to storm Kampala in great numbers. Please, if you've not started registering for the upcoming conference in August, kindly do so. And also spread the word to every other person, even if they're not members of WASPAC, SHAO, TOHASA. Let us just bring, we want numbers, we want people to, our professionals to really grow. Thank you so much. See you in August in Champala. Bye.
thank you. I had Champala. I hope she meant Kampala.
I think I know. I think you normally say Champala. It's not Champala. It's Kampala.
It's Kampala.
Okay, we'll be there.
Okay, thank you, Harriet. I see a hand
Francis,
from
you
Mr.
can.
Economics.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Francis, Mr. Economics. And I would like to sincerely thank my colleague Gladys. She has brought a part that personally I struggle with, and I would like to hear her opinion on the same. While some of us do consultancy while in employment, indeed it is a trick. The employer's time that is contracted and your time to be on the client's expectation. Now, my question comes specifically here. Is it wise to declare no conflict of interest to the employer that you are running a consultancy that borders a potential conflict of interest? What would you say about that? Thank you, Gladys.
Okay, so Brian, do I take that or you want to take more questions?
Maybe you can have one more. You take two at a time. Joseph, unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Joseph from Tanzania. Glad to be here. I just want to ask you, Glad, can somebody start the consultation firm without being certified, maybe with NEBOSH or other, like international organization? Is it possible? Thank you.
Is it okay if you can get one from Agava and then you answer them at once?
Okay.
Agava, Derek Agava, you can unmute and ask your question.
Well, thank you very much, Brian, for the opportunity. Thank you, Gladys, for the wonderful presentation. Now, actually, as you were presenting, I remembered one thing that I've been thinking of quite a lot of late. You know, with the coming in of the new OSH Act in the country, companies are supposed to do annual OSH audits. And these are supposed to be done by independent OSH practitioners who are going to register. Now, I've always asked myself, how does someone strike the balance of also removing the bias as a worker, like the past person has just been asking, like the conflict of interest, because then you're also going to move into other industries if you position yourself as someone who can provide that service. But then how do you strike a balance with that conflict of interest issue? Thank you.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you for the 3 questions. And as Ivan respond, kindly feel free if you're here, because I believe we have also experts. So I'm only here, like, how do I say it? I'm not teaching. I'm here to just give my opinion and guide. So feel free, if you need to jump in, let me know. And you can also give your point of view. So for the conflict of interest declaration, as I've said in the presentation, there are companies who are okay, as long as you don't go to a competing client, okay? And most of, how do I say it now? For example, let's say there's company A that is doing OSH consultancy, and you're working for this company A doing OSH consultancy. And you know for sure, these are the clients within that organization. And for you now, you want to go and shortchange. So that's a conflict of interest because you are working for company A and you also want to go and shortchange your employer. That is wrong. But if I can give another example, let's say you are working as a HSE manager in company A that don't deal with OSH. So they deal maybe with other services. Maybe like, how can I say it? Maybe, for example, you're working with, I don't want to mention brands because I don't want to endorse any company here. Let's say you are working with company A that is dealing in telecom, or company B that is in manufacturing. And as an advisor, you've been called to go and do an audit in an oil and gas company. So for such a scenario, this organization where you're working, they will tell you, declare what you do extra outside your working time. Okay? But that doesn't mean you cannot go ahead and do it. You can go and do it. What most company safeguard is, first of all, to make sure their time is not taken away from them. So if you have a job like, let's say Monday to Friday, you dedicate your time to your employer. If let's say you want to go and do an audit, you can maybe get your leave days, because I'm on leave, nobody should dictate to me what I do on my leave, as long as it's within the confines of conflict of interest you declare. For example, in Kenya, we have so many OSH advisors who've been licensed by the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services, and they are still in active employment, okay? So it's for you to know, if I'm going to take this work, I'm either going to get my leave days, or if it's a company, I'm going to outsource to another approved person to go and do the audits for me. Okay, that's on the conflict of interest. And what I'd like to say, some companies are very serious when it comes to declaration of conflict of interest. You may actually end up losing your job, not because you are doing your side hustles, but because you did not declare. So that is very important. So you need to understand within the organization where you are, go back to, is it the appointment letter? And read through, understand. If let's say for big corporates, I know there's the legal department, just go and understand, like, how does it look like? You don't even need to declare that you're doing consultancy when you're not sure. So first understand, again, we said clarity is very important. Understand what the organization, the arrangements within the conflict of interest. I know some people do the declaration and it's non-issue to the organization because you're not conflicting. So I hope that's clear. Then consultancy without certification, yes, it's possible. Remember, this certification, it will give you an edge because maybe potential employers are looking for this certification. But also remember, like I can give an example, if you are operating in Kenya and you don't have a NEBOSH diploma, but let's say you have undergraduate in OSH and an MSc in OSH, you can be approved to be an advisor. So you don't need to really per se have this certification. But for example, if let's say you want to be a fire auditor, like in Kenya, you need to present that you've already gone through trainings when it comes to fire. So you don't have to have these certifications for you to get into consultancy. Another example I can give, for instance, in Kenya, if you are consulting on electrical audits, the client won't be keen on NEBOSH. They will be keen in terms of, do you have an undergraduate or a diploma when it comes to electrical engineering? Are you registered with maybe IPRA, because IPRA is the organization that does the certification. So that's what the client will be keen on. So again, it's very important. Remember we talked about what is your target clients. If you're going maybe to give, because sometimes company will even self-audit with their management system. So it doesn't have to be legal. There are companies who are self-regulating, especially if you go to countries whereby they are not so much developed in terms of the OSH regulations. So you find that maybe somebody from Kenya has been told maybe go to maybe, let's say Rwanda. So in Rwanda, when you go there and it's an international company, maybe they will tell you, we want you to audit our management system against our own internal management system. So they already have procedures, the checklist, everything is there. So for that, maybe they will just be asking for, let's say, a NEBOSH IGC or a NEBOSH diploma. So some of these certifications are actually requirements from the clients, but they are not legal requirements. And I think that is what has really shaped Kenya in terms of accelerating the uptake of NEBOSH IGC and the diploma, because most of the clients will actually ask for this, even in the job advertisements. They will ask, your undergraduate plus your professional certification. For the OSH audit, revision of the OSH Act, and now there's a potential for independent OSH practitioners to get into that space. I think Kenyans have done so well in this, and actually it's usually very, very competitive. And you have to go for interviews. With time, they've even made it very stringent for you to get this certificate. So for our counterparts in Uganda, I think for me, I would be very keen to get this opportunity because it has not been there. So make sure you're ready. I don't know what the requirements are. Make sure you're ready, get the certification, because sometimes even in Kenya, you find somebody has a certification, but they'll end up maybe doing an audit like maybe once or twice because of the commitment they have in the 8 to 5 job. So get the certification. Then after getting the certification, you make a decision. Will I just do one audit because I'm just starting up? We've said there are various ways how you want to navigate. So if you feel that given your 8 to 5 job, you can only do maybe 1 or 2 audits, I think that's up to the individual to decide. If you feel that I want to establish my company and have a pool of auditors who are already approved by the government, you can look for business and tell these individuals to come and deliver for you. Remember, I said, you don't need to go deliver everything for yourself, even if you are an OSH advisor. There's much you can do because of time limitation and also limitation as a human being. So you don't grab everything. You can grab everything in terms of getting the business, but engage your colleagues within the industry to be able to deliver on your behalf. And for those who are engaged, please do not go and start short. It's called what? Undercutting. Yeah, so we have to remain professional. So I think for Uganda, anyone on this call, for me, I would be very excited, to see what the future holds for Uganda, now that there's an opportunity to be licensed and, to undertake the audits. And remember, apart from getting the financial aspect, you also get to broaden, your experience. As I've said, if I'm coming from energy sector and I'm going to manufacturing, that is something I will be adding more on my expertise. So it's not only about the money, but also your expertise, growing your expertise. Yeah, so I think that's what I can say for the 3, maybe unless someone else wants to jump in and give the insights. And maybe before that, I can give an example because I've interacted with a few of my colleagues and friends within the industry. So if you're trying to double hat and your company growth, it accelerates so fast, you'll find yourself straining a lot and nobody will tell you to resign. You'll end up resigning because it has gotten to a point whereby it's even impacting on your well-being. Yeah, you find you are always rushing, always taking off from work. You need to go and meet this client, you need to deliver, working on weekends. Why? Because there's some, there's a limit to the number of leave days you can take in a year. So even maybe some of the consultants will end up saying, I'm unwell. You want to maximize everything. I'm unwell, I'm a caregiver. Which other days are there? Of course, maternity, you cannot take that one, or paternity. But you find that now because you are double-hatting, you want to exhaust everything, all the days, and actually even end up even missing work because you have a client you need to deliver. So you need to balance, and you need to know at what point am I saying I need to leave employment. So those are very personal decisions depending on your experience and how you navigate and your network. But what I can also say, when it comes to consultancy, you also need to be very careful because remember the 8 to 5 job gives you a guarantee of the monthly pay every month. So you have a consistent consistent earnings. Most people who are in consultancy and also on this call, they can attest to the fact that sometimes you may get a month where, let's say, you're getting very high opportunities for job, but let's say you may end up going 3 months without a job. So that's why I'm saying, if you're going to make that decision, you need to really weigh your options. You really need to weigh your options. What I've seen with most of my friends is that they will start double hatting employment and consultancy, but eventually move out completely to consultancy. Because you cannot move employment and then now start saying you want to start your consultancy. It's not possible. So you need to establish yourself before you make that decision to transition. Because if you just quit today and now you want to say you want to start consultancy, where will you start from? So you need to start from somewhere. And most of the consultancies have started when they are in employment. Then eventually when now, they feel that I'm not able to double hat, they eventually leave. Yeah, so I think that's it from me. Felix, your hand is up. If you want to dive in, just unmute. I don't know, Brian, if it's possible, you can unmute Felix. Sorry, I hope I'm audible. Felix, hand is up.
Felix, can you unmute?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Felix, or popularly known as Felix Waloto. So first of all, GN, as I call you here in Kenya, congratulations for a good presentation. Congratulations to Shao for organizing this. I want to stress one point. So first of all, let me say I'm one of the people who've actually taken a niche, like you pointed out. I deal with Lotto. I operate a company called MoSafe Lockout Tagout Services. And I was actually giving you a leeway to use MoSafe or myself for all your good, bad, and ugly examples. I promise you will not sue you. But there is one point that GN has pointed out that I really want to emphasize to the team here. I hear people asking so many questions about the courses and all. But once you get into the industry, there is one bit that you really need to be very, very keen on. Please do not undercut. Do not again cut, or rather the hand that feeds you. It's very, very unprofessional and it's going to work against you. And the reverse also is also very, very true. If there occurs a situation whereby you're being forced or you're in a position to work for a client who was someone else's client who referred you to him, please just inform that other person. And I'm going to give you an example here. Somebody called me to do a job for one of the big brewing companies in Kenya. And he posted me there. I went to do the job. The next thing, the client himself called me and told me, Felix, can you do this training? And I was like, this is not my client. So I cannot directly engage with this client. I went to this client through person A. So I informed this person A and said, hey, you know what? These guys have reached out to me again and they would want us to do another training. And since this is not my client, I would want us to do the same thing that we did the last time. So please, you just take over, charge, this is what they want. And then you just give me, I'm just going to give you my quote. The next thing he did, because we got that job, the next thing he did was to be called to another company where he actually even now said, no, this job, I am not able to do it, but I'm going to give you an expert to do this work, and he's called Felix. And the work he gave me there was actually even much, much more, almost double or triple the amount of work he had given me. So please note about undercutting or even cutting biting the finger that feeds you. Kindly. Thank you.
Yeah, I know we've experienced so much undercutting in Kenya, and that's why maybe you will find that, a lot of professionals in Kenya are very cautious on that. So there has been a lot of that unprofessional conduct. So thank you, Felix, for that. So Brian, over to you.
Thank you, Felix. Thank you, Felix. And please, those whose hands are up, still keep them up. I just want to go through the chat box. I want to give a chance to the people in the chat. And then I'll get back to you, the people who are whose hands are up. I'm glad to have a lot of feedback coming up from the people who are listening in. And most of them are thanking you for quite a wonderful presentation. We have Joy Birunji, dealing with clients in professional way. This was a very insightful. Asante sana, Gladys. Christian Pasco, very insightful and excellent presentations. He also thanking you for the presentation. Good job, Gladys. Very insightful presentation. That comes from Harriet Ajema. Brian Rono, great presentation. Then we have Emmanuel Okwatum. I think here, this is a question. Thanks so much for presentation. My question is on the part of certification. Can the Allison certificate help me build my certifications? I think you combine that with the questions that are going to come up from others. Joy Aaron Kadima, thank you so much for this presentation. And many people are sending in their appreciations. People are asking how to join SHAO. The link is in the chat, and Rachel, in her closing remarks, she will talk about it, how someone can be a member of SHAO. So I want to give Rachel, I'm also Ernest, and Belinda a few 5 seconds to ask your questions. I don't know whether it's a question or a submission. I just want to give you 1 minute each so that we can close this webinar. Thank you so much. I'm starting with Rachel.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Gladys. Mine is a question. When Gladys mentioned being an expert, yeah, do not just graduate and then, go and start consultancy. From your understanding, what are you defining as expert? Is it the years of experience? Is it the papers that have published? Is it the certifications that I have been able to achieve? I just want light on that. But also, Brian, just another call to the maybe the SHAO members that are on the call and have been into consultancy for a while. I think I saw Dorcas. If they can also share from their experience, I think Gladys had also requested for that if you're on the call and, this is somewhere you've been and there's something you want to share with the team, it would be nice to hear from someone back home, the challenges, how it's done, how they've been able to, conquer through and all that. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think let us get all the questions. Gladys, you'll answer them at once as we're closing up. Ernest's hand was up, but I don't see him again. I don't know whether he's still listening in. As it's coming up, Belinda Kabakoyo, you can unmute and ask.
Hi guys, thank you so much for this opportunity and the webinar itself. Gladys, I can't thank you enough for this. I think it was just about the right time for it to be shared. Mine is not a question, it's just supplementing what Gladys had shared regarding, I think, Mr. Ergonomics' question on conflict of interest. Briefly, most times you have that stated to you in your contract, what the entity or company stands for when it comes to, having your side bit and their work. But this stems a lot from the issue of, now I'll pick from my previous HR practice, it comes from bits of spending your time on your side hustle. You get tired, you come to the company and you cannot deliver. You have 8 hours to deliver, you're either sleeping, you're the one that's getting sick all the time, or you're not in office, you're the one who's always asking for offs, like she had mentioned. You begin to maximize every single slight opportunity that the company offers the staff to get off. The other bit was to do with the trade secrets. There's an issue of trade secrets. You're in HSE, you're probably working with a company that's offering anything to do with HSC, and then you're going to, it doesn't even matter that you're not picking whatever they have done. You're picking probably from your education, but because there's not a single moment they'll be able to rule that out. It's such a gray area. You will not be able to defend the fact that you have not picked from the company's trade secrets to share, and that becomes an issue. You could actually be sued. It gets very dirty if you get into the legal aspect of it. So yes, you ought to declare, and like she mentioned, if they found you out, you definitely lose the job. Yeah, so it's a very murky area. You need to always be able to engage the HR and the legal aspect of the company. You don't have to tell them, I am doing this, am I doing the right thing? No, you just give them a scenario, and then from your end, you pick whether you're actually on the right track with them, because this all goes back to you as your integrity and your professionalism. Because remember, Jova in Uganda, we have a saying, Jova toyombye oddadda, where you live with a clean slate, you're able to go back. These are the same people who are going to cost your reputation out there, because they are always within circles and meetings. And, you know, one slight thing, oh, Belinda, no, that one, she's going to dilly-dally and play around with your trade secrets and sell them here and there. Before you know it, you can hardly find work elsewhere. So it's a critical issue to handle. Yeah.
Thank you, Belinda.
So, Brian, allow me to respond to the two.
Yeah,
Can
we
I
have
go
2
on?
minutes for the responses.
Okay. So again, I've said for the certification, like the NEBOSH, the IOSH, sometimes it's the client who call for this requirement. So we also have other institutions that offer. So we have Allison. I remember going to the OSHA Academy. So sometimes some of the clients will not be very keen in terms of the certification. And remember, sometimes you may have the certification, but you don't have the ability to deliver. So does certification make you an expert? No, if it's only certification alone, it has to match with your experience. Because I mean, I may sit and do the exam and excel, but when it comes to implementation, I have no experience. So whatever I'm learning is very theoretical. So I need to understand the industry where I'm working. So for you to say you are an expert, it's a mix of your certification, it's a mix of your experience. So you cannot say because I'm certified minus experience, I'm an expert. Because being an expert comes with having the knowledge, the skills, and the expertise. So that will define a competent person. So as an expert, yes, you have the certification, but you need to go beyond in terms of what years of experience do you have. And mostly for very strict project, they will look at the certification, but they will even define the years of experience required. The last one I'd like to mention, which came from Belinda's response, is if you're setting up a management system, please, if you're copy pasting, don't copy paste even the names of the organization. Just ensure that you are tweaking your documents. I've seen when maybe where we are working and you're reviewing the documents, you will see someone even forgot and copy pasted even the name. Maybe you are supporting like 2 or 3 clients. So that one is a no for me. So that aspect of being original, taking time, remember delivering value to your client, that is very important. So Brian, back to you.
Thank you, Gladys.
Would like to Brian's
Ladies
experience.
and gentlemen, Max. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, we are going to have Rachel, the Vice President of Shell, to give us the closing remarks. I want to thank you again for joining this webinar. There are quite a number. The turn-up was good. And I'm sure I'm going to take into consideration whatever we learned today. And thank you for being so engaging. So Rachel, we're already into time. Just have like 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay, good morning. Please confirm
Good
you can hear me.
afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon in
Good
Uganda.
Okay, good afternoon. Please confirm you can
afternoon.
hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Gladys. I was just side by Angelina and telling her, besides this is the second webinar we've had, where we've had 100+ attendance. So thank you very much, Gladys, for giving a very powerful presentation. And we've had, participation all the way through from the beginning to the end. We've been having between 98 and 100 people. This shows how powerful your presentation has been. And thanks to ASPAC for giving us Gladys to do this webinar for us. Thank you very much, Brian, for moderating this very well, and for the SHAO team that has been behind trying to make sure every technical bit is going well. Gloria, the finance, and Angelina, the general secretary. Thank you to WASPAC again for rallying for the conference. As the Uganda team, as you've heard, Kenya is not going to joke. They are very seriously rallying, and it would be a shame if we have more Kenyans in that room than Ugandans. So please, this is a call. Let us all come to the conference, attend the conference, tell a friend to tell a friend. And for the Kenyan team, when you're hosting, we promise we shall revenge. We shall make sure we are more than the Kenyans in that conference room. They mentioned that we have a 50% payment. The Swahili word keeps playing me, but also WASPAC has the same, I think it's Lipa Mdogo Mdogo. I hope I got it right this time. And Tanzania also has it. So you can pay in installments for the conference, and then you're able to lock in the early bird tickets. For the people that have companies or businesses that cross-cut the East African region, Gladys mentioned it in her presentations, that why would you limit yourself to just one country? Companies are coming from all over the world and doing business here. Why can't we do the same for ourselves? So in that regard, we have the magazine that will be capturing all this. Share your advert. We shall have them in the magazine that we shall be issuing out during the conference. We have a call out for abstracts that's ending on 30th of May. If you've done any research, if you know someone that has done research in regards to safety, they can submit their abstracts so that this can be presented during the conference. We have exhibition booths. You may not sponsor, but you could have an exhibition booth where you can present your items or your services. And then lastly, please come for the conference, because it's a good opportunity for you to social network. I have seen opportunities where, say, a Kenyan or Tanzanian has gotten business in Uganda, and they think the cost of flying all the way to Uganda is not worth it if there's a Ugandan that can do the same work. So how else are you going to meet these people if you do not come to such conferences? You're going to meet them when we go to Kenya for their conference, when you go to Tanzania, or when we have a conference in Uganda and they come, and that is how you're going to social network and they get to know what you do. Yeah, beyond maybe they see you on LinkedIn, so now they meet you physically, put a name to face, and then the experience, and it's easy for you to connect and have such businesses. So with those few remarks, I want to thank you all for your participation and for being part of the webinar for these 2 hours. Thank you very much for the team. Thank you, Felix Waloto and Mr. Economics. Why I'm mentioning this, from the time I got to know about WASPAC, I've known those people by that brand. So something that Gladys mentioned, what is your niche? Are you going to be known for fire safety? Are you going to be known for ISO? Are you going to be known for, lockout, tag out, or ergonomics? Define what you want to do. Let people know you for that. And when they need anything, if you want anything to do with ISO, we shall know. You know what? Brian is the person to go. If you want to know anything about fire safety in Uganda, we say Angelina is the person to go. I'm just using these as examples. So thank you very much once again, and have yourself a good afternoon. and a good morning, depending on where you are. Thank you. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you, our Vice President Shao, for those closing remarks. We have come to the end of this webinar. I want to thank you so much for joining our friends from Tanzania, Kenya, around East Africa. Asante sana. I saw that word coming from our financial control. I didn't know she can speak Swahili. But yeah, thank you for this webinar that has been so insightful. And one more thing, we're going for a weekend. Arsenal fans, please be safe. I know celebrations are still going on. We United fans are not happy, but please, we want you safe. Don't over celebrate. If you have to celebrate, carry out a risk assessment. We want to see you alive as you're celebrating. But also, this recording will be on our socials. It will be on our YouTube, but you can also follow our LinkedIn platforms, our X, YouTube. Go there, subscribe. There's always content. But also those who registered, you'll have this shared with your in your emails. I can't wait to see you, all of you, at the conference, because I'll be there. I'll be there myself. Whether I'll be sick, I'll be there. Whether I'll be admitted, I'll be there. So thank you so much. Brian Kwizera is my name. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.